The night before a mission was always the most dangerous time, not because of external threats, but because of the internal battle each soldier fought with their own memories and fears. In the quiet hours before deployment, Lieutenant Marcus Reyes found himself revisiting the ghosts that had brought him to this moment. His office was a shrine to controlled chaos, maps pinned with precise red markers, intelligence reports stacked with military precision, photographs that told stories of missions past. A small frame caught the dim light, a picture of his younger brother, Michael, who never returned from his first deployment. It was Michael's loss that had transformed Reyes' understanding of service from a family tradition to a personal crusade. The intelligence briefing spread across his desk was a mosaic of human complexity: satellite images, intercepted communications, ground agent reports, each piece a fragment of a larger, more intricate puzzle. The suspected communication hub wasn't just a target. It was a nexus of human stories, insurgents with their own histories of survival, local civilians caught in an endless cycle of conflict, international players with interests that stretched far beyond these rocky mountains. Deep in the Pentagon, analysts had spent months constructing this mission. Rodriguez had been instrumental in decoding encrypted communications. That suggested a significant shift in insurgent communication strategies. What they were about to do was more than a simple reconnaissance. It was a potential game changer. In a conflict that had defined a generation, Thompson arrived with additional files, his movements deliberate and controlled. Years of special operations had transformed him into a living weapon, but his eyes told a different story, a story of a man who understood the human cost of every mission. "We've got new intercepts," Thompson said, spreading additional documents across the desk. His fingers, scarred from years of combat and technical work, traced the lines of coded messages. "This isn't just about disrupting communications. We're looking at a potential leadership network that's been ghost-like in its operations." The files revealed a complex network that went beyond traditional insurgent structures. These were not just fighters, but strategists, individuals who had transformed guerrilla tactics into a sophisticated information warfare model. Each intercepted message was a window into a world of survival, ideology, and human complexity that defied simple categorization. Rodriguez had spent weeks working with cryptography teams, breaking down communication patterns that seemed impenetrable. His work had revealed something more intricate than anyone had initially suspected: a communication network that used local terrain, cultural nuances, and technological innovations in ways that challenged traditional military intelligence. Martinez's medical background added another layer to their understanding. His connections with local medical networks had provided insights that went beyond traditional intelligence gathering. He understood that in this landscape, healing and fighting were often two sides of the same coin. The twins, Collins and Williams, represented a different dimension of military preparedness. Their training went beyond physical combat. They were experts in psychological operations, understanding how information could be a weapon more powerful than any firearm. Their ability to read terrain, predict human behavior, and adapt to changing circumstances made them critical to missions like these. Reyes understood something fundamental that many missed. This mission was about more than military objectives. It was about understanding human networks, cultural complexities, and the thin lines that separated survival from destruction. As midnight approached, the team gathered for final preparations. Each member brought not just their technical skills, but their entire life's journey. Rodriguez's immigrant parents' dreams of opportunity, Martinez's commitment to healing, the twins' brotherhood, Thompson's street-learned survival instincts. All of these were weapons more powerful than any equipment they carried. The mission briefing was a masterpiece of military precision, but beneath the tactical language, beneath the strategic objectives, was a deeply human story. A story of individuals who had chosen to stand between chaos and hope, who understood that true courage was not about heroism, but about continuous, quiet commitment. Tomorrow, they would move into terrain that had swallowed countless missions. But they were not just another team. They were a living, breathing organism of human resilience, technological innovation, and unbreakable commitment. The mountains of Helmand Province waited, indifferent to human stories, ready to test the limits of human endurance once more. The mountains spoke a language older than human conflict, a dialect of stone, wind, and subtle movements that only the most experienced could understand. As Navy SEAL Team 6 began their approach, each step became a negotiation with the landscape. that had witnessed countless battles long before their arrival. Thompson moved point, his body a study in controlled motion. Years of specialized training had transformed him into something more than a soldier. He was a human sensor, reading the terrain with an almost preternatural awareness. Every rock, every slight depression in the ground told a story. A misplaced stone could mean a recently disturbed path. A particular arrangement of vegetation might suggest recent human movement. Behind him, Rodriguez managed the team's communication equipment with a delicate touch that bordered on reverence. His gear was more than just technology. It was a lifeline, a thin thread connecting them to the world beyond these mountains. Encrypted communication devices, signal interceptors, frequency modulators, each piece of equipment was a weapon in its own right. Thermal readings are showing some anomalies, Rodriguez whispered, his fingers dancing across a sophisticated handheld device. The screen displayed a complex overlay of terrain data, heat signatures, and potential movement patterns. Something's not matching our initial satellite intel. Martinez moved with a different kind of awareness. As a medic, his job was more than just potential combat treatment. He was constantly assessing the environmental risks, potential exposure points, terrain-related injury risks, the subtle signs of altitude and environmental stress that could compromise the team's performance. The twins, Collins and Williams, maintained a fluid defensive formation. Their communication was almost telepathic, a subtle gesture, a slight shift in position, and they could reconfigure their approach instantaneously. Growing up together had given them a bond that transcended verbal communication. Reyes observed everything, his mind a constant calculus of risk, mission objectives, and team dynamics. The communication hub they sought was more than just a physical location. It was a potential intelligence goldmine that could reshape understanding of the insurgent network. The terrain itself was a complex adversary. Helmand Province was not just a location, it was a living, breathing entity that had consumed countless military operations. Ancient trade routes intersected with modern conflict zones. Geological formations created natural fortifications that had been used by local fighters for generations. Thompson suddenly dropped to a crouch, his hand raising a silent warning. The team froze, becoming part of the landscape. Years of training had taught them that survival often meant becoming invisible. Micro-disturbance, Thompson muttered, pointing to a barely perceptible trail of disturbed gravel. Most would have missed it, a slight arrangement that suggested recent movement. But Thompson saw stories in these minute details. Rodriguez's equipment came alive with subtle signals. Picking up fragmented communications, he whispered, encrypted, but definitely active. Someone's been through here recently. The team's approach was a masterclass in military movement. They were not just moving through the terrain, they were reading it, interpreting its language, understanding its secrets. Each step was calculated, each movement deliberate. Martinez's medical training gave him a unique perspective. He understood the human body's relationship with this harsh environment, how altitude, temperature, and terrain could become as dangerous as any enemy combatant. His medical kit was not just about treating injuries, but preventing them, understanding how the human body might react to the extreme conditions. Collins and Williams began to map potential approach vectors. Their minds working in perfect synchronization, they were creating a living, breathing tactical assessment that went beyond traditional reconnaissance. Every potential hiding spot, every possible ambush location was cataloged and assessed. Reyes watched his team with a mixture of professional pride and deep concern. He understood the razor-thin line between mission success and catastrophic failure. Each of these individuals carried not just military training, but entire life stories, immigrant dreams, family expectations, personal redemptions. As they moved deeper into the terrain, the mountains seemed to watch. Ancient rock formations stood as silent witnesses to human conflicts that had come and gone. Trade routes used by caravans centuries ago now served as potential infiltration paths for modern military operations. The communication hub they sought was more than a strategic target. It was a nexus of human stories, insurgent communications, that represented complex networks of survival, ideology, and resistance. Rodriguez's ability to intercept and decode these communications could provide insights that went far beyond traditional military intelligence. With each step, the team moved closer to their objective, but in these mountains, proximity was never a guarantee of success. The terrain was a living entity, unpredictable and unforgiving, ready to reveal its secrets or consume those who thought they could master its complexity. The mission had truly begun. Time seemed to fracture in that instant when violence erupted. The mountain, which moments ago had been a silent predator, now screamed with the language of conflict, a cacophony of gunfire, shattering rock, and the primal sounds of human survival. Lieutenant Marcus Reyes' world collapsed into a series of instantaneous calculations. Muscle memory, years of training, and pure survival instinct merged into a single, fluid response. His body moved before his conscious mind could process the threat, dropping into a defensive position that was more reflex than conscious decision. Rodriguez's communication equipment erupted in a storm of static and fragmented signals. Multiple contact points, he shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos with clinical precision. Years of specialized training transformed him from a communications expert to a real-time intelligence hub, processing incoming data faster than most computers could calculate. The first wave of gunfire was surgical, not the wild, uncontrolled shooting of inexperienced combatants, but a precisely coordinated assault that suggested a level of tactical sophistication far beyond their initial intelligence reports. Each bullet seemed to have a purpose, each trajectory calculated to maximum effect. Martinez was already moving, his medical training transforming into combat survival instinct. His eyes were everywhere, tracking potential injury points, assessing cover, calculating medical intervention possibilities in a fraction of a second. The medical kit became more than just a collection of supplies. It was a lifeline, a potential difference between survival and catastrophe. The twins, Collins and Williams, moved with a synchronicity that defied individual human limitation. Their communication was beyond verbal, a language of slight muscle movements, micro-expressions, almost telepathic understanding that allowed them to coordinate with a precision that seemed almost supernatural. Thompson's voice cut through the chaos, his scout training revealing itself in every syllable. Coordinated assault, multiple vectors. He was already mapping the attack points, understanding the broader tactical situation faster than anyone else could process. Reyes understood immediately. This was no random ambush. This was a carefully orchestrated attack designed to neutralize their team with maximum efficiency. The insurgents had studied their movement patterns, anticipated their approach, and prepared a kill zone that left almost no room for traditional escape strategies. Rodriguez's equipment began to paint a terrifying picture. Fragmented communications suggested a complex network of spotters, coordinators, and direct combatants. This wasn't just a local insurgent group. This was a sophisticated operation, with levels of coordination that suggested external support. Satellite communication nodes detected, Rodriguez reported, his voice remaining calm despite the chaos. Multiple encrypted channels. They knew we were coming. Martinez was already assessing potential injury scenarios, his mind working faster than the bullets flying around them. Each potential wound, each possible medical intervention was calculated in milliseconds. The medical kit was no longer just a collection of supplies. It was a survival algorithm, a way to keep the team functional in the most extreme conditions. The twins began to implement a defensive strategy that went beyond traditional military doctrine. Their approach was fluid, adaptive, using the terrain not just as cover, but as an active part of their defensive mechanism. Rocks became more than physical objects. They were tactical assets to be manipulated, understood, transformed. Thompson's scout training revealed itself in every movement. He was reading the terrain like a complex language, understanding not just the physical characteristics, but the potential tactical advantages and vulnerabilities. Each rock, each slight depression became a potential survival point. Reyes knew they were dramatically outnumbered, but numbers meant nothing in special operations. Training, adaptability, team cohesion, these were the true weapons, and this team had been forged in experiences that transformed them from individual soldiers into a living, breathing combat organism. The mountain seemed to participate in the conflict, rocks exploding from precise rifle shots, dust clouds creating natural camouflage, the terrain itself becoming an active participant in the unfolding drama. This was more than a battle. This was a complex dance of human survival, technological sophistication, and primal combat instinct. Rodriguez's communication equipment began to reveal something even more disturbing: the attack patterns, the communication nodes, the precise coordination. This suggested a level of tactical sophistication that went far beyond local insurgent capabilities. Someone, somewhere, was orchestrating this with a level of precision that suggested state-level support. They're not just fighting, Reyes realized in a moment of crystalline clarity, they're sending a message. The first contact had transformed from a military engagement to something far more complex. A statement, a demonstration of capabilities, a warning encoded in bullets and strategic positioning. As bullets continued to fly and the mountain echoed with the sounds of conflict, the team understood that survival was no longer just about individual skill. It was about collective adaptation, about becoming something more than individual soldiers, a unified organizational survival, training, and pure human resilience. The real mission was just beginning. Desperation had a smell. Lieutenant Reyes knew. It wasn't fear, not exactly. It was a mixture of adrenaline, sweat, and the metallic tang of potential failure. The team's position had become a crucible of survival, each moment a delicate balance between tactical decision and raw human instinct. Martinez's medical assessment was brutal in its clinical precision. Their ammunition was down to critical levels. Each round was now more than just a potential weapon. It was a lifeline, a calculated resource that could mean the difference between mission survival and total catastrophe. "We've got approximately 37 minutes of sustainable defensive position," Martinez muttered, his voice a low, controlled transmission that cut through the ambient chaos of gunfire and exploding terrain. His medical kit was no longer just a collection of supplies. It had transformed into a survival algorithm, each item a potential game-changer in their increasingly desperate situation. Rodriguez's communication equipment told a story of increasing isolation. Their link to base was more than just compromised. It was a fragmented, intermittent lifeline that spoke to the sophisticated nature of their attackers. "Jamming is complex," he reported, his fingers dancing across encrypted communication devices. "This isn't standard insurgent technology. We're dealing with something more advanced." The twins, Collins and Williams, had become a living tactical assessment system. Their synchronized movements mapped potential escape routes, defensive positions, and potential counterattack vectors. Years of training had transformed them from individual soldiers into a single, adaptive combat organism. Thompson's scout training revealed itself in every calculated movement. He was reading the terrain like a complex language, understanding not just the physical characteristics, but the potential tactical advantages hidden in every rock, every slight depression. His eyes never stopped moving, constantly reassessing their increasingly precarious situation. Reyes understood the brutal mathematics of their scenario: outnumbered, limited ammunition, compromised communications. In military parlance, they were what strategists euphemistically called a challenging tactical situation. In human terms, they were fighting for survival. The mountains seemed to participate in their struggle. Rocks exploded from precision rifle shots. Dust clouds created natural camouflage, the terrain itself becoming an active participant in their fight for survival. This was more than a battle. It was a complex dance of human endurance, technological sophistication, and primal survival instinct. Rodriguez's continued analysis revealed something even more disturbing: the attack patterns, the communication disruption, the precise coordination. This suggested a level of tactical sophistication that went far beyond local insurgent capabilities. "Someone is orchestrating this," he muttered, decrypting fragmented communication signals. "And they're not just trying to stop us, they're trying to send a message." Martinez began a methodical assessment of their physical condition. Each team member was cataloged: potential injuries, stress levels, physical and psychological readiness. His medical training transformed the team from individual soldiers to a complex biological system that needed careful management. The twins started constructing potential scenarios. Their minds worked in perfect synchronization, mapping out potential escape routes, counterattack strategies, survival protocols. Each scenario was a complex algorithm of human capability, terrain challenges, and pure survival instinct. Thompson's observation added another layer of complexity. "The terrain is working against us," he reported, his voice a controlled assessment of their environmental challenges. Natural fortifications, potential hidden observation points, multiple approach vectors. Whoever planned this knew exactly what they were doing. Reyes understood the deeper implications. This was more than a military engagement. This was a statement, a demonstration of capabilities that suggested something far more complex than a simple insurgent attack. The precision, the technological sophistication, the strategic positioning. This spoke to a level of planning that suggested state-level involvement. Rodriguez's communication equipment began to paint an increasingly complex picture: fragmented. Signals suggested a multi-layered communication network that went beyond traditional military communication protocols. "We're not just dealing with local insurgents," he muttered, "decrypting complex communication patterns. This is something else entirely." The mountain continued its indifferent witness to human conflict. Ancient rock formations stood as silent observers to yet another chapter in humanity's endless cycle of violence and survival. Trade routes used by caravans centuries ago now served as potential infiltration and escape paths. Martinez's medical assessment became increasingly critical. Stress levels, potential injuries, environmental challenges, each factor was a potential point of failure. The medical kit was no longer just a collection of supplies. It was a survival toolkit, each item a potential lifeline in their increasingly desperate situation. The twins continued their tactical assessment, their synchronized movements a testament to years of specialized training. They were no longer just soldiers, they were a living, breathing tactical assessment system, constantly mapping, constantly adapting. Thompson's scout training revealed itself in every calculated movement. His understanding of the terrain went beyond physical characteristics. He read the landscape like a complex language, understanding potential tactical advantages hidden in the most minute details. As minutes stretched into an eternity of survival, the team understood something fundamental. This was no longer just a mission. This was a test of human endurance, of training, of the incredible capacity of human beings to adapt, to survive, to transform potential defeat into something miraculous. Reyes looked at his team, Rodriguez with his complex communication systems, Martinez with his medical precision, the twins with their synchronized tactics, Thompson with his terrain mastery. They were more than soldiers. They were a living testament to human capability. The real battle was just beginning. The Northwest Ridge stood as a paradox, a landscape that promised both salvation and potential doom. Thompson's eyes never left its rocky contours, his instincts screaming that emptiness was often the most dangerous illusion in combat. "Something's not right," he muttered, his voice a low vibration that cut through the ambient chaos of their desperate situation. Years of specialized training had taught him that in terrain like this, emptiness was never truly empty. It was a canvas waiting to reveal its hidden narratives. Rodriguez's technical equipment began to paint a complex picture. Thermal imaging, signal detection, electromagnetic scanning. Each technology layer revealed fragments of a puzzle that refused to come together cleanly. "Intermittent signal ghosts," he reported, fingers dancing across encrypted scanning devices. "Something's interfering with our readings." The ridge itself seemed to breathe with a life of its own. Ancient geological formations created a landscape that was more than just rock and dust. Each stone, each subtle depression held potential stories of trade routes centuries old, of conflicts long forgotten, of human movements that predated modern warfare. Martinez approached the ridge analysis from a different perspective. His medical training gave him a unique understanding of environmental psychology. "Terrain like this," he explained to Reyes, "it's not just a physical space. It's a living system that responds to human presence. The way light hits these rocks, the subtle air currents, the micro-ecosystems, they all tell a story." The twins, Collins and Williams, began a methodical mapping of the ridge. Their synchronized movements transformed technical reconnaissance into an art form. Each scan, each observation was a complex algorithm of potential threat assessment. They weren't just looking at the ridge, they were interpreting it, understanding its potential as both a sanctuary and a potential kill zone. Reyes understood the deeper implications. In special operations, an empty ridge was never just an empty ridge. It was a potential tactical asset, a hidden threat, a canvas of possibilities that could transform their mission in an instant. Rodriguez's communication analysis revealed increasingly complex layers. "These signal interruptions," he muttered, "they're not random. There's a pattern here. Something systematic that suggests deliberate interference." His fingers moved across sophisticated decryption tools, peeling back layers of technological mystery. Thompson's scout training went beyond traditional visual assessment. He was reading the landscape like an ancient text, understanding the geological and human histories embedded in every rock formation. The way stones were positioned, the subtle traces of recent movement, the micro-disturbances that most would miss, each was a potential story of human presence. "Look at the rock formations," Thompson pointed out to Reyes. "These aren't just natural configurations. Something's been moved recently, deliberately." His fingers traced almost imperceptible line patterns. geological disruptions that suggested human intervention. Martinez's environmental analysis added another layer of complexity. The ridge ecosystem is unusual. He observed microvegetation, patterns, soil composition. Something's been altered here, not dramatically, but systematically. His medical training transformed environmental assessment into a complex biological investigation. The twins began constructing potential scenarios. Each rock, each potential hiding spot was mapped with a precision that went beyond traditional reconnaissance. They weren't just looking at the ridge, they were understanding its potential as a tactical asset, a potential salvation or ultimate trap. Rodriguez's technical assessment continued to reveal complex layers. These signal interruptions, he reported, they're using technologies that don't match our current understanding of local insurgent capabilities. We're dealing with something more sophisticated. His communication equipment became a window into a technological mystery that went far beyond their initial mission parameters. Reyes understood they were facing more than a simple tactical challenge. This ridge represented a complex intersection of geological history, human technological intervention, and potential strategic significance that went far beyond their immediate mission objectives. Thompson's observations became increasingly precise. These rock formations, he muttered, they've been subtly repositioned, not by natural erosion, not by typical human movement, something more deliberate. His scout training transformed geological assessment into a complex narrative of potential human intervention. The ridge stood as a testament to the complexity of their environment. Ancient trade routes, geological formations, potential hidden technological assets, each layer told a story that went beyond simple military reconnaissance. Martinez's environmental analysis continued to reveal subtle complexities. The microecosystem here, he explained, it's been subtly altered, not dramatically, but systematically. Something's been introduced here that doesn't quite match natural progression. His medical training transformed environmental assessment into a complex biological investigation. Rodriguez's technical equipment continued to reveal fragments of a complex technological puzzle. Signal ghosts, intermittent interference, technological signatures that didn't match expected local capabilities. Each detection was a piece of a larger, more complex narrative. As the team continued their assessment, the ridge remained both a promise and a threat, an empty landscape that whispered of potential salvation and potential doom. A canvas waiting to reveal its hidden stories, its complex technological and geological narratives. Reyes looked at his team, Rodriguez with his complex communication systems, Martinez with his environmental analysis, the twins with their synchronized tactical assessment, Thompson with his terrain mastery. They understood something fundamental. In this landscape, emptiness was never truly empty. The ridge was waiting to reveal its secrets. The first shot was more than just a sound. It was a statement. A sudden punctuation mark in the chaos of their desperate battle. Lieutenant Reyes felt something shift in the very atmosphere, a subtle change that spoke of intervention beyond their understanding. Rodriguez's communication equipment erupted in a symphony of data. Incoming precision strike, he shouted, his fingers dancing across sophisticated tracking systems. Origin point, impossible to definitively locate. The shot had come from a position that shouldn't exist, a ghost in the technological landscape. Thompson's scout training transformed the moment into a complex tactical assessment. His eyes, trained to read terrain like an ancient text, began to map potential shooter locations. Not standard insurgent tactics, he muttered, his voice a low, controlled analysis. This is something else entirely. The shot itself was a work of surgical precision, a single round that dropped the lead insurgent with a clinical efficiency that spoke of extraordinary skill, not just accuracy, but a deep understanding of tactical dynamics that went far beyond typical combat training. Martinez began a rapid medical assessment. The precision of the shot suggested more than just combat expertise. It revealed a profound understanding of human vulnerability, of exactly where a single round could neutralize maximum threat potential. The twins, Collins and Williams, began to construct potential scenarios with their synchronized tactical brilliance. Each potential shooter location was mapped, analyzed, potential motivations dissected with a scientific precision that went beyond traditional military assessment. Reyes understood they were witnessing something extraordinary. This was not a random intervention. This was a calculated action that suggested a level of tactical understanding that defied their current mission parameters. Another shot rang out, then another. Rodriguez's equipment continued to paint a complex picture. These aren't random strikes, he reported, decrypting fragmented signal data. Each shot is a precise tactical intervention. Someone is systematically dismantling the insurgent tactical positioning. Thompson's terrain analysis revealed subtle clues, micro-disturbances in the rock formations, almost imperceptible changes in the landscape that suggested recent movement, but nothing definitive, nothing that could explain the sudden, precise intervention. The mysterious shooter was systematically neutralizing key insurgent positions with a level of precision that bordered on the supernatural. Each shot was a tactical statement, a demonstration of capabilities that went far beyond standard combat training. Martinez's medical and environmental training added another layer of complexity. The shot placement, he observed, suggests not just combat training, but a profound understanding of human biomechanics. These aren't just kill shots. These are precisely calculated interventions. The twins continued their tactical assessment. Collins and Williams moved with a synchronized precision, mapping potential shooter locations, constructing complex scenarios that might explain the unexpected intervention. Rodriguez's communication analysis revealed increasingly complex layers. These signal characteristics, he muttered, they don't match any known local communication protocols. We're dealing with someone, outside our current understanding. Reyes watched as the mysterious shooter continued to systematically dismantle the insurgent tactical positioning. Each shot was a message, a demonstration of capabilities that suggested something far more complex than a simple intervention. Thompson's scout training revealed subtle environmental clues, micro-disturbances in the terrain, almost imperceptible changes in rock formations, hints of recent movement that spoke of extraordinary skill in terrain manipulation. The mysterious shooter seemed to understand the terrain as a living system. Each shot was not just a tactical strike, but a complex interaction with the environmental dynamics, a demonstration of capabilities that went far beyond traditional combat understanding. Rodriguez's technical assessment continued to reveal complex layers, signal ghosts, technological signatures that didn't match expected local capabilities, communication patterns that suggested a level of sophistication far beyond their current mission parameters. Martinez approached the analysis from a biological perspective. These interventions, he explained, they're not just about neutralizing threats. They demonstrate a profound understanding of human movement, of tactical positioning, of environmental dynamics. The twins continued their synchronized tactical assessment. Each potential shooter location was mapped with a precision that transformed reconnaissance into an art form. They weren't just looking for a shooter, they were understanding a complex tactical intervention. Thompson's terrain analysis revealed increasingly complex layers. The way rocks were positioned, subtle environmental disturbances, micro changes that spoke of extraordinary skill in terrain manipulation and understanding. As the mysterious intervention continued, Reyes and his team began to understand something fundamental. This was more than a simple combat intervention. This was a demonstration of capabilities that suggested something far more complex than their current mission parameters could explain. The mysterious shooter remained a ghost, a phantom of precision that dismantled their understanding of the conflict, of the terrain, of the very nature of intervention itself. Reyes looked at his team, Rodriguez with his complex communication systems, Martinez with his biological analysis, the twins with their synchronized tactical assessment, Thompson with his terrain mastery. They'd understood something fundamental. In this moment, they were witnessing something extraordinary. The phantom shooter continued to write its mysterious narrative of intervention. The moment of mysterious intervention became a crucible of human potential. Lieutenant Reyes understood that survival was more than a tactical objective. It was a complex alchemy of training, instinct, and the indefinable human spirit that transformed desperate circumstances into opportunity. Rodriguez's communication systems came alive with a renewed intensity, adaptive communication protocols engaging, he reported, his fingers moving with a precision that transformed technology into a living weapon. The mysterious shooter's intervention had created more than just a tactical opening. It had reset the entire battlefield's dynamics. Thompson's scout training transformed into something beyond traditional reconnaissance. His understanding of terrain became a living language. Each rock formation, each subtle environmental change a potential tactical asset. We move now, he stated. his voice a controlled instrument of survival strategy. The twins, Collins and Williams, began to implement a counterattack strategy that defied conventional military doctrine. Their synchronized movements were more than just tactical positioning. They were a living, breathing tactical algorithm. Each step, each potential cover point was a calculated risk. A moment of potential transformation. Martinez's medical training became a critical component of their survival strategy. Minimal injury potential. He assessed rapidly, his medical kit transforming from a collection of supplies to a survival toolkit. Each potential medical intervention was calculated with a precision that went beyond traditional combat medicine. Reyes watched his team with a mixture of professional pride and a deeper, almost spiritual understanding of human capability. They were no longer just soldiers. They were a living, breathing organism of survival, of human potential pushed to its absolute limit. Rodriguez's communication systems continued to reveal complex layers of tactical opportunity. Insurgent communication networks are fragmenting. He reported, "Our mysterious shooter has created systematic disruption points that go beyond traditional combat intervention." The terrain itself seemed to participate in their counterattack. Ancient rock formations, geological structures that had witnessed countless conflicts, became active participants in their survival strategy. Thompson read the landscape like an ancient text, understanding potential tactical advantages hidden in the most minute details. The twins' tactical assessment transformed into a living, breathing tactical system. Collins and Williams moved with a synchronicity that suggested something beyond individual human capability. Their understanding of potential threat vectors, potential escape routes, potential counterattack strategies became a complex, adaptive algorithm. Martinez's medical and environmental analysis added another layer of tactical complexity. Stress levels optimal. He reported, his medical training transforming environmental and physiological assessment into a survival strategy. Team operating at peak potential adaptation capacity. Rodriguez's technical systems continued to reveal the complex layers of their tactical intervention, signal disruption patterns, communication network fragmentations, technological signatures that suggested a level of tactical sophistication far beyond their initial mission parameters. Thompson's terrain mastery revealed increasingly complex tactical opportunities. The way rocks were positioned, subtle environmental disturbances, micro changes that suggested potential tactical advantages became a living, breathing tactical language. Reyes understood they were experiencing something extraordinary. This was more than a simple counterattack. This was a demonstration of human potential, of the incredible capacity of trained individuals to transform desperate circumstances into opportunities for survival and mission success. The mysterious shooter's intervention had created more than just a tactical opening. It had transformed the entire dynamic of the conflict, revealing layers of complexity that went far beyond traditional understanding of combat intervention. Rodriguez's communication systems continued to paint a complex picture of tactical transformation. Insurgent communication networks completely destabilized. He reported, "Our intervention points have created systemic disruption that goes beyond traditional combat strategies." The twins' tactical assessment became a living, breathing tactical system. Each potential threat vector, each potential escape route, each potential counterattack strategy was mapped with a precision that transformed reconnaissance into an art form. Martinez's medical and environmental training added another layer of complexity to their survival strategy. Team operating at peak physiological and psychological adaptation potential. He reported, his analysis transforming environmental and biological assessment into a survival algorithm. Thompson's terrain mastery revealed the landscape as a living, breathing tactical asset. Each rock formation, each subtle environmental change became a potential tactical advantage, a living language of survival and strategic intervention. Reyes watched as his team transformed from a group of individual soldiers into a living, breathing organism of survival. Rodriguez with his complex communication systems, Martinez with his medical and environmental analysis, the twins with their synchronized tactical assessment, Thompson with his terrain mastery. They were more than a team. They were a demonstration of human potential. The counterattack became more than a military intervention. It became a statement of human capability, of the incredible potential that emerges when training, instinct, and collective purpose merge into a single, powerful force. As they began to break the siege, Reyes understood something fundamental. Survival was not just about tactical positioning, it was about the incredible, indefinable human spirit that could transform the most desperate circumstances into moments of extraordinary potential. The mountain continued its indifferent witness to human complexity as the SEAL team wrote their narrative of survival. The aftermath of conflict was always more complex than the battle itself. As medical evacuation approached, Lieutenant Marcus Reyes understood they were experiencing something far beyond a typical mission. Debrief. This was a moment of profound revelation, an intersection of human complexity that defied traditional military understanding. The mysterious shooter emerged not as a heroic figure, but as a testament to the intricate human stories that existed beneath the surface of conflict. A local fighter, weathered by generations of struggle, his motivations were as complex as the landscape that had witnessed his actions. Rodriguez's communication systems continued to process the mission's technological anomalies. Signal patterns are unprecedented, he muttered, fingers moving across sophisticated decryption tools. The communication networks they had encountered suggested a level of technological sophistication that went far beyond their initial mission parameters. Thompson approached the local fighter with a scout's careful observation. Years of specialized training had taught him that survival stories were never simple, never black and white. Each conflict was a tapestry of human motivations, of survival instincts that transcended national boundaries, ideological lines. Martinez began a comprehensive medical and psychological assessment, not just of the team, but of the entire encounter. His medical training transformed the mission into a complex study of human survival, of the physiological and psychological mechanisms that allowed humans to endure extreme circumstances. The twins, Collins and Williams, began to construct a comprehensive mission analysis that went far beyond traditional after-action reports. Their synchronized approach transformed mission review into a complex, multi-layered investigation of human potential. The local fighter's story began to emerge in fragments, not a simple insurgent, but a guardian of a community caught in the crosshairs of larger, more complex conflicts. His intervention was not about taking sides, but about a more fundamental human imperative: survival. Rodriguez's continued technical analysis revealed layers of complexity. The communication networks we encountered, he explained to Reyes, they suggest a level of technological sophistication that challenges our current understanding of local capabilities. Each decrypted signal was a window into a more complex world of information warfare. Thompson's terrain analysis added another dimension to their understanding. The way the local fighter had used the landscape, understood its subtle dynamics, suggested a relationship with the environment that went beyond military training. This was a connection born of generations of survival. Martinez's medical assessment became a profound study of human adaptation. The physiological responses we demonstrated, he reported, represent a remarkable demonstration of human potential under extreme stress. Each team member had operated at the absolute limits of human capability. The twins continued their synchronized analysis. Collins and Williams mapped the mission's tactical dynamics with a precision that transformed after-action review into a complex scientific investigation. Each moment was analyzed, each decision dissected with extraordinary detail. Reyes understood they were experiencing something more profound than a typical mission debrief. This was a moment of revelation about the nature of human survival, about the complex motivations that drove individuals in conflict zones. The local fighter's motivations emerged as a complex narrative, not a simple combatant, but a guardian of a community caught in the crosshairs of larger, more complex conflicts. His intervention suggested a deeper understanding of survival that transcended national boundaries, ideological lines. Rodriguez's communication analysis continued to reveal complex layers. The technological signatures we encountered, he explained, they suggest a level of sophisticated intervention that goes far beyond traditional understanding of local communication capabilities. Thompson's terrain analysis transformed the mission into a study of human-environment interaction. The way the local fighter had used the landscape, understood its subtle dynamics, suggested a relationship with the environment that was almost spiritual in its complexity. Martinez's medical and psychological assessment became a profound study of human adaptation. We operated at the absolute limits of human physiological and psychological potential, he reported. Each team member had demonstrated capabilities that challenged traditional understanding of human Endurance. The twins' mission analysis transformed after-action review into a complex scientific investigation. Collins and Williams mapped tactical dynamics, psychological responses, environmental interactions with a precision that suggested they were writing not just a mission report, but a complex study of human potential. Reyes looked at his team. Rodriguez with his complex communication systems, Martinez with his comprehensive medical analysis, the twins with their synchronized investigative approach, Thompson with his terrain mastery, and understood something fundamental. This mission was more than a military operation. It was a profound exploration of human potential, of the complex motivations that drive survival, of the indefinable human spirit that emerges in the most extreme circumstances. The mountain remained silent, a witness to yet another chapter in the complex narrative of human survival. The medical evacuation helicopter cut through the landscape, carrying not just a team of soldiers, but a profound story of human capability. Some stories, Reyes understood, were not written in official reports or military logs. They were whispered in moments of reflection, passed between those who understood that survival was about something far more complex than tactical positioning. The silent ridge kept its secrets, a testament to the extraordinary stories that emerge in the spaces between conflict and survival.